Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Welcome to my kitchen again. We are going to make some pumpkin pie today. Homemade, gluten-free pumpkin pie for Thanksgiving. I hope you guys all have your good, thankful intentions in your head this week for everything you're thankful for. So let's get started cooking this amazing pumpkin pie. We are going to start with 1 stick of cut up, very cold butter, okay? So go ahead and cut up your butter into little chunks and put that there. Then we are going to take our rice flour. Here we go, this brand. Any brand is really good. I just like organic rice flour. I switch it up every now and then. So we're going to do 3/4 of a cup of rice flour. We're going to need a food processor for this because the butter is going to make all those little flaky crusts, and we're going to need the food processor to like grind up all that butter. You could do it by hand if you feel like it, if you have one of those, I'm trying to think of the name for them and I can't think of it, but you kind of like slice the butter and you mash it at the same time. Well, I'm going to do it right now. Drawing a blank. Alright, so we got 3/4 of rice flour. Then we need 3/4 tapioca flour. Parasol is a good brand I like. Here we go. Alright. So this is my first attempt at gluten-free pumpkin pie, FYI. So we're going to see how it comes out. Alright, we're going to need 3/4 of this as well, equal parts. Then we're going to need 2 tablespoons of potato starch. This almost acts as if it's like a binder. I don't really use xanthan gum. I replace xanthan gum with potato starch. 2 tablespoons. Okay. Then we're going to need a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. And then we are going to need 2 to 3 tablespoons of ice water. So I've got a measuring cup full of ice water right here. We're going to leave that here, and then we're going to put the cover on. Now we're going to, I'm thinking, do I want to put the cover on? Yes, all right. Let's put the butter in, and then we'll put the cover on. All right, let's go like this. And just kind of line the butter all the way around in the food processor. Alright, we're gonna pulse this so that it combines, and then we're gonna add the 2 to 3 tablespoons of cold water to make it combine into a dough, okay? One thing that I do want to experiment with this time, I want to add 1/4 teaspoon of baking powder. I don't usually, but I'm experimenting this time, so let's see how this turns out. It's just going to make the dough a little fluffier. Alright, let's turn it on, and let's add 2 to 3 tablespoons of ice cold water to this dough. 1, 2, what happens. It's coming together. And we're going to do 3. We might need more. The way you can tell is, let's take the food processor top off and let's see if we can make a dough with it. I think we can make a dough with it. I think 3 was perfect. Yeah, okay. If you can take this out, chunks of it out, right? See this? And you can kind of mold it. That's how you know you have a good dough, okay? That's how you know you don't need any more water. So, let's put our food processor off to the side. Let's take a sheet of parchment paper. Kind of have to work fast with this. We do not want the butter to melt. make a mess and take the blade out and push down on the crust inside the container of the food processor to kind of make it, all the crumbly stuff stick together. Okay, I think we got a good one. Let's put it on this parchment paper, our dough, and then we can kind of squish it together on this dough. Okay. Now if you didn't make a mess, you did it wrong. Making a mess is all part of the process. Okay. Let's stick all this together. Now we're going to need another piece of parchment paper for the top. We'll take our rolling pin. Let's move my water over here. We'll push it down, roll it out a little bit. Now because there's no gluten in this crust, there's no elasticity. So when you pick it up, you have to be careful with it because there's nothing holding, there's no elasticity to hold it together. See how that looks. Look at that. That's looking good. Okay. Push it down a little bit more. Okay, now we have our pie dish here. We are going to try to transfer this to our pie dish. How are we going to do that? Not quite sure yet. I'm winging it here. I want to flip it over, but I think it's going to break. So let's maybe do a slide out version. We might have to piece it together. You know what? Could we do it in this? I'm trying to think. Nah, I'm trying to get it out of here. Okay. Come on, Crust. I'm gonna flip it. I'm gonna go dangerous. I'm gonna flip it. I'm doing it. I did it. Drop some on the floor in the meantime. Alright, not bad. We didn't do too bad. Let's just take out this part that is a little too thick under here. And then let's put it together. It's a hot mess, but pie crusts are a hot mess. It smells really good. So, let's make it look really pretty and piece it back together. If you have an easier way of doing that, by all means, let me know. Smells really good. Smells good, good, good. Okay. Take all the pieces and just kind of push them back together. We only really need to make this edge pretty, right? Everything else is covered by pumpkin pie. Okay. So there are different ways that you can do this. Make your edging pretty. I just like to take this little motion right here. So pinch and then push. Pinch and push. And that kind of gives you like that traditional like crimped pie edge. This would be a really good dessert to bring to your family gathering for Thanksgiving. Okay. I see a little piece at the bottom here. It's got a little crack. Fill in the gaps with your little pieces you have left over. All right, here we go. We got a pie crust going here with the little pinch and push edge version. So here's our gluten-free pie crust. We are going to keep that in the refrigerator until we are ready to put the pie filling in it so the butter stays nice and cold. So onto the pie filling next. Okay, we're back. We're gonna make this pumpkin pie filling and it's gonna be delightful. All right, let's start. We are going to need a hand mixer. We're gonna need a hand mixer. It's just gonna whip it up faster. So let's start with all of the wet ingredients first. So we are going to need 2 eggs. So let's do 2 eggs. We're gonna start with the wet ingredients and then we're gonna work to the dry. Alrighty. Then we need 1 can of pure pumpkin. Here we are. 15, I think it's 15 ounces? Yeah, 15 ounces. Canned pumpkin is my favorite. I think out of all the desserts, you're either a pumpkin pie person or you're not. I love pumpkin pie. I'm a pumpkin pie eater over an apple pie any day. My husband and daughter are apple pie people, not pumpkin pie people. Then we are going to need 1.5 cups of coconut milk. And I like to use this one from Kroger. It is the Simple Truth version, unsweetened coconut milk. I use coconut milk in everything. Then we are going to need 1/2 cup of maple syrup. I prefer to use maple syrup over sugar any day. So most of my baked goods have been, anything that has sugar in it, it's been replaced with maple sugar. Maple syrup. I guess it is maple sugar though. It's nature's sweetener. Then we need 1/2 teaspoon of salt. We gotta balance the sweet with the salt. And we are going to mix this up before we add the spices. So get your hand mixer ready and mix away. Somewhat of a pumpkin soup, which is what we want. Let's add in our Ceylon Cinnamon, 1 full teaspoon. This is the Ceylon Cinnamon I like to use. 1 full teaspoon of cinnamon. Then we're going to do a 1/4 teaspoon of cloves. 1/4 teaspoon of clove. I love the way cloves smell. I have essential oils going, and my fall essential oils are always cinnamon and clove and orange. Then we are going to do a 1/2 teaspoon of ground ginger for a little bit of spice. All right, those are all the ingredients. Let's mix that up with our blender again. Mixer. Blender. pumpkin soup right now. Soupy, soupy, soupy consistency, if you can see that. So good. Okay, now let's preheat our oven to 425 degrees. Once that comes to the proper temperature, we're gonna pour it into the pie crust and we're gonna bake it. Stay tuned. All right, we're back. We've taken our chilled pie crust out of the oven, out of the refrigerator. Our oven is now preheated to 425 degrees. So let's pour our pumpkin batter into our cold pie crust. So good. I feel like it's gonna overflow. Perfect. Look at that pie. Beautiful. Okay, in the oven it goes. It's gonna go for 15 minutes on 425 degrees. After 15 minutes, we're gonna reduce the temperature to 350 degrees, and we're gonna bake it for 50 to 55 minutes, depending on your oven, okay? So, go get bacon. Happy Thanksgiving.